Hello everyone, Aero here, and welcome to a reaction video to the Chapter 3 trailer, or should I say teaser trailer, for Poppy Playtime. Now I had to put this disclaimer here because I thought of a dope theory that I put right at the end. Listen through or skip to the end because I think it's a good one. Now after we finish watching the video, we'll also go through some of the details that we see throughout the video and theorize on what they could mean for Chapter 3. So let's just jump straight into this thing. So here we are on the Mob Games official YouTube channel. I can see here that the thumbnail looks pretty creepy. That looks like a gas mask to me with some red gas in the background. It only got uploaded 6 hours ago, but come on, I'm from New Zealand, so you know, like that was the middle of the night for me. I just woke up, but let's get into this thing. Let's just start. Okay, I'm just gonna say the first thing that comes to mind when I see
there is nothing more gratifying to my soul than being the reason for a child's
on the ground,
to be the spark that ignites all their hopes and dreams. We
know
owe
this
everything
floor.
to these children. This company and its toys.
Okay, Mommy
are
Longlegs,
nothing
but that's how she
without
died.
them. That is why it is with enormous pleasure that as the founder of
Bronze
Playtime
head,
Co, I
decapitated.
announce Playcare, our very own on-site
Boogie
orphanage. A child should never be left
Gas
alone.
mask.
Never without a hand to hold when they see a monster in their closet. May Playcare bring joy, inspiration, and smiles to every child who enters these doors.
Okay. So that's an announcement saying Playcare is the orphanage, part of the orphanage program. And that's screaming. That's screaming. That mask looks like BRON. Okay, 2023. Interesting. I guess we kind of expected that. These chapters take a long time to do. Okay, let's go. Okay, so first things first, the series of toys that we see throughout the beginning of the trailer. First we see Huggy, and then Mommy, and then the head of BRON. I personally see that correlation to the chapters as being a little bit too convenient. I mean, you can see Huggy in Chapter 1, we know he was the main antagonist, and then Mommy Longlegs in Chapter 2 as the main antagonist. Does that mean BRON is gonna be the antagonist in Chapter 3? I think so. Not only that, we get some hints based on how the toys look in that beginning sequence. I mean, we see Huggy on his back, which is probably what happened when we pushed him down into the depths of hell of Playtime Co. And then we see Mommy popped in half, which is, you know, fresh in our minds from Chapter 2. We know what happened there. And then we see BRON just with his head. I wonder whether that's a hint towards how we're gonna kill him in Chapter 3, or whether that's what he's gonna look like in Chapter 3. He might just be a bouncing head about to kill us. Another thing I want to point out is, I know we see BRON's head in that beginning sequence, but that gas mask looks mighty similar to BRON. I mean, the same shade of red. You know, it's got yellow on the sides, so does BRON's mouth. I don't know, there's gotta be some sort of link there. I wonder whether in Chapter 3, there's some sort of gas mask we have to wear. And maybe that gas mask's lore is that it was meant to look like BRON's head, or something like that. Now, I guess that's a pretty good segue onto what was discussed by, I'm assuming, Elliot Ludwig in the actual trailer. He's mentioning how children should never be afraid, and they deserve the best upbringing they can have, and kind of leading on to how orphans need to be taken care of, and how he wants to put it on himself and his company to do that. And that's when he announces the opening of Playcare as the in-house orphanage for Playtime Co. Now, we don't know exactly what happened in the orphanage in Playtime Co., but it's a pretty strong theory out there. A lot of theorists would say that those children were the ones that were experimented on, because come on, it's pretty easy. Those kids know they don't have any parents asking for them, and if their parents or foster parents are actual employees, they're the ones doing the experiments on them. So what better way to gas them out and take them into the experiment room than looking like friendly old BRON when you put the gas mask on? I think there's more there, but we'll only see when the full trailer comes out or Chapter 3. Now, I also noticed that in the background there were most of the toys that we've already seen. It makes me wonder whether they are also going to be victims in Chapter 3, or whether that's where they were eaten in Chapter 3, you know, by Experiment 1006. There's only one way to find out. We're going to need more information about that. And I guess the final detail that was pretty clear in the video was the screaming that you hear at the end of the video. I thought it was pretty clever how they blended in the sounds of the cheering from Elliot Ludwig's original speech with the actual screams of children. And I think it's pretty key to actually mention that those are children's screams. I mean, if you listen to it carefully, that's not adult screaming, that's definitely children screaming. So we can only assume those are the sounds of the children in the orphanage once maybe the gas is applied. I'm starting to think that maybe Chapter 3 is going to be an entirely gassed out area. It might be the remains of the last gassing that ever happened in the orphanage, but the gas is still there. So I tried taking some screenshots from the trailer and enhancing them to see whether there was any hidden messages in the background or anything like that, but I really couldn't find anything. But one thing I did find interesting was that Daisy is the closest toy to the gas mask in the background. And I've theorized in the past, and so have many other people, that Daisy is going to be one of the antagonists in this chapter. So I wonder whether this is a nod towards that, because why else would you put Daisy in such a prominent position in this composition? So yeah, I think it's more like I hope that Daisy is going to be in this chapter, because I really want to see what they can do with her. Okay, 2 more theories I want to quickly go through, then we can wrap this video up. The first one, there's a common belief that Elliot Ludwig, the guy that's actually talking in the beginning of this trailer, is actually a good guy, and you can see that in the mini video that you see in his office when you're playing in chapter 2, that he's got really pure intentions. So I wonder whether his speech at the beginning of the trailer represents his good intentions at the start, maybe when he first opened up the orphanage, and then the screams at the end are what ends up happening when maybe he dies or someone else takes over the factory, and that's when the evil stuff starts happening, and that's why they're kind of blended in together. Okay, and here's the last theory. So hear me out. In chapter 2, in Elliot Ludwig's office, we learn about experiment 814, and that's the experiment when he uses the poppy flower and a preservative gel to try and bring a rat back to life. But for all we know, we think that he's using that to try and revive his dead family member. Now, I wonder whether the gas that we see in the video, which is also a suspicious shade of red, is the evolution of the gel and the poppy flower. What if they're mixed together in a vaporized form and put into a gas, and maybe that is what's used now successfully on bigger test subjects like humans or orphans. Now, I'm not 100% sure of how this will link in with the creation of toys that live and they have souls inside of them, but I'm sure it has some link to it because of how important that initial experiment was before creating the Poppy toy. So, what do you think? Let me know. I'm definitely going to make some shorts on this where I deep dive a little bit more into them and provide some cooler graphics to supplement the actual theories, but that's all I've got for now. So put your theories down below, join my Discord, follow me on Instagram so you can see some IRL content, and let's get this thing, baby. See you guys.